You know what's up this weekend. It's time for another sherping in this raid. And I'm going to be taking people through the most recent raids, Scourge of the Past. I'm going to try and get as many people as I can their first completions in this bitch again. However, I have some added benefit for doing this. And no, that's not friends with benefits, which is what the YouTube order names is dildo, so you can go fuck yourself. Tomorrow, I want to get a triumph out of the way, which requires me to beat the raid with 6 clan members. I haven't had a chance yet to knock that out with a full team, and I think we've only managed to get 4 clan members in one raid at a time. But this weekend, this is it. 6 clan members running Scourge of the Past. Not to be fair and upfront, I think I already have a good portion of people who have already volunteered for the first run that are in the clan, and I might already have a full team for that one. My first run is going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you guys need to figure out what that shit is in your time zone. I know that I'm definitely taking Badger with me. That is for certain. I have been gaming with Badger for, 10 years now, Badger? And he has not had the opportunity to beat any of the raids in Destiny 2. Can you believe that? We've been playing this game for how long, and he hasn't done a single fucking Destiny 2 raid? Because of that, I want to get him through his first Destiny 2 raid. I mean, shit, if I have time, I might as well get him through the Last Wish raid also, since most people already know the mechanics to that motherfucker. But the main raid tomorrow, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is Scourge of the Past. But if we do need people, we do need someone. The first one is going to be a clan member run. So we're either going to find a clan member if I need some extra person, or someone could just join the clan for that run. And then obviously you're free to stick around if you want to go back to your original clan. Whatever. I'm flexible. I'm not too worried about that shit. But the triumph is the key thing that at least I want to be going for. If you do need a clan, the link to mine is in the description. It's open to people. It's free to join. The overwhelming majority of us are PlayStation 4 players. So if you're trying to get people for Xbox or PC, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to find it very empty. We are mainly a PlayStation 4 group. This week is also the challenge mode for the boss fight. And luckily, it's one of the easiest challenges in the game. Well, except if you're Torres. Oh, man, we picked on Torres for hours the last time, man. Single-handedly, that motherfucker must have wiped us at least 5 times or something. Now, a few weeks ago, when I did my first Sherpa, he was part of the group doing it for the very first time, but he was by far the most clueless. I had a few people that were doing the raid for the first time, but man, Torres was determined to make sure we didn't finish that shit. No matter what role we put him on, he couldn't get the hang of fuck. Luckily, he's done the raid again since then, so he probably at least knows his foot from his ass this time. But that shit was awful trying to carry him. Oh my god, it was painful watching him ignore instructions and directions and just basically completely doing the opposite of what the rest of us were doing. So, hopefully people will follow instructions tomorrow. The raid is nowhere near as technically challenging as the Last Wish, and pretty much, it's straightforward mechanics. I mean, I'm not going to get into the explanation of the entirety of the raid because there are videos that have already done that. They give the details of the fight. I can give you the briefing here, but in the game, when we're actually playing, I'll give you the rundown of your particular role that you're going to have. The first section of the game is basically a game of hide and go seek. There is a specific berserker around the map that we need to find and we need to kill, and then deposit orbs in a very specific container somewhere around the map. People need to know basic shit. North, south, east, west. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what clockwise and counterclockwise is. One person reads the map like fucking Amazon's Alexa, and the other people on the ground have to find the berserker basically where the map person tells us it's going to be. It's a pretty simple mechanic. It's much harder to do in person, especially if people can't read a fucking map. The next phase is sparrow racing through a tunnel to avoid a flaming servitor, which is pretty straightforward and probably the most fun thing that we can do in this raid. Then we're on to phase 1 of the boss fight. 3 people do all the work. The other 3 people are on ad control. Those guys on ad control, you just have to make sure that you have some kind of element to break each one of the shields. That's it. You have to have void, you have to have arc, and you have to have solar. That way you can break the shields of the shank and make the work for everyone else much easier during that part. The people who are doing all the work, who will be underground with me in the tunnels, will basically be punching symbols, driving tanks, shooting a motherfucker. It's honestly a very simple mechanic. It is not that difficult. The boss fight itself is the most challenging part again, but you know what? In all honesty, it is not that bad. It's just about being comfortable with it and being quick with all your motions. It's pretty much all the mechanics that we've seen up to that point in the raid. They're basically going to be recycled again. We have to find a berserker on the map. That's all going to come into play again. We got to kill the berserker, take the orbs, drop it in a very certain receptacle. All of that is going to repeat itself. Challenge mode, also not that hard. It's basically going to require all of us to shoot one of the boss's shields. That's it. That's the entire challenge. Each person shoot one shield. That's it. Challenge complete. Damage to the boss, though, is where people need to pay attention. Now, unlike most boss fights in almost any raid or any strike, usually you group up like a gangbang and stuff. You all hang out in a well, and that will give you the buff and the mechanics to melt any boss in the game. This one's a little different. The buff wants people to stay away from each other in pairs, no less. All 6 people are going to get a random buff that pretty much triples your damage if you're next to the teammate that has the same exact buff. If you and a teammate have the same exact buff, you're standing right next to each other, you're in a well, you're going to do triple the damage you normally do. However, if you're standing next to a teammate that does not have the same buff, you're basically going to kill each other. That is the whole mechanic of the boss fight. You just have to pay attention to what buff you have and where you need to stand. This is where Torres was fucking killing us. Motherfucker completely ignored the buffs, and he was like, you know what, I don't even want to bother with the buffs. I'm just going to stand wherever the fuck I want. The problem is, you take away the damage of whatever player you were supposed to stand next to. No, not this time. People are going to need to get their ass, haul ass, get in their spot, get the buffs. We're going to beat this motherfucker legit. Now, if it's done correctly, and everything goes smoothly, it's going to take no more than 2 cycles to beat the boss. That's really it. All it takes is just one half of the boss with a whole bunch of weapons, and then you just knock them out with the other half. In terms of what you need to bring to the raid, if you have a dependable shotgun that you like, usually the Ikelos is one of the best ones, or the new curated threat level that possibly you can get from the drops, those are going to be the guns that you want to have. You want to have a decent long-range weapon. Some people like pulse rifles. Some people like the bow and arrows. Whatever you have to fight at a distance, that's also going to be helpful. Finally, for your heavy weapon, Thunderlord and the Whisper. Now, there are plenty of videos out there that show the Darcy doing just as much damage with the Whisper, which is absolutely true. The challenge, though, is ammo consumption. If you plan on burning the boss in one phase, the Darcy is excellent. If you don't plan on burning the boss in one phase, which is not going to happen with a group that basically might have a brand new person, that's where the Whisper comes in. The Whisper has ammo economy. As long as you're hitting your headshots, you're going to keep your ammo. That's what you need. If you were to hit all your headshots with the Darcy, even if you knock that motherfucker out, chances are you're not going to kill him. So that's why you want to make sure that you have the ammo consumption where the Whisper really comes into play. That's all you really need. After that, once we're in the raid, I'll go over all the details. I'll break the teams out into what parts they need to do, explain what you need to do, and we knock this motherfucker out. Even with new people, I don't think this is going to take more than 2 hours, possibly 3 if I get another Torres. Sorry, Torres, you know I'm going to pick on your ass forever. But essentially, it shouldn't take too long. So if you guys have 2 or 3 hours to spare on Saturday, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to run this motherfucker. Again, if you need to hop in the clan to get the actual triumph, feel free. The link is in the description. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's raid.